Bully takes place predominantly at Bulworth Academy, and players spend a significant amount of time here in their playthrough. However, after Chapter 1, the gates open up and you're free to explore the town. But one place in the town feels particularly insidious and creepy. In this video, I want to explore and have a closer look at the Happy Vaults mental asylum that the main story takes us to, which is by far one of the creepiest places in the entire game. In the past, I always felt that a mental asylum is a location that felt really out of left field for a game like this. However, now, on reflection, it makes total sense. The game is often about authority figures restricting those that are bad or wrong in some way, and we know that many of the students of Bulworth and the inmates of the asylum don't want to be there. The gates locking in the inmates of the asylum also aren't so different from the gates of the school that keep the player locked in at the start of the game. To me, it's almost like the game makes a point of saying the kids think Bulworth is a dump, but look how bad it can get for other people in the real world. When you actually look back, Bulworth Academy is kind of one of the nicer and cozier places in the game world. In the mission where you find Johnny in the asylum, he mentions that he was taken away against his will, and he's desperate to escape. At least everyone at Bulworth Academy is somewhat content. Anyway, onto the asylum itself. Not only is the area located in a very secluded location, requiring navigation through these secret tunnels or a long bike ride through and out of town, but it's also tucked away amongst these mountains, giving it a very isolated and closed-in feeling. On top of that, it's fenced off and patrolled heavily by staff, immediately giving a very authoritarian and oppressive vibe. It's worth noting the name of the place, Happy Vaults Asylum. If they called this a mental hospital or institution, it might suggest it's a place for people to get better or have therapy or something, but it's called an asylum, which is quite outdated. The word asylum isn't used anymore in reference to mental hospitals, which sort of suggests that their practices at this particular place might also be quite outdated and improper. Also, Happy Vaults? I don't know about you, but the first thing that brings to my mind when in combination with a place like this is an electric chair.
I think I'll just follow you for a while. Let's be friends, but don't anger the Watcher.
The courtyard itself has this statue out front. Now, I've heard theories about it being something called the Watcher or connected to a poster which looks like one of the school janitors. I know Rockstar loves an Easter egg, but I think in this case it is just a patient telling you to avoid these guys whilst the cutscene is directing you to destroy the fuse box on the statue to progress. I don't think it goes too much deeper, though it is fun to theorize. When we go into the asylum, we can see that it is absolutely not in any state to keep patients or medical supplies in. All of the walls are absolutely filthy, and one part of the building has even caved in. Moving into the next area during the Galloway mission, we can see the asylum workers trying to restrain a patient and force them back into the cell, which falls in line with what I said earlier about their practices being outdated and improper. In the center common room area, we can see some drawings on the walls, presumably made by the inmates for enrichment. There's also a few gambling tables and a sofa with a TV. In the background, you can frequently hear a tool whirring, accompanied by some screaming. This whole area feels like it could have been a leftover from the other Rockstar game, Manhunt, and upon some digging, it seems like that might actually be the case. I've never played Manhunt, but from what I've read, Manhunt and Bully operated on the same engine, and Bully even uses a modified version of Manhunt's stealth mechanics. I would assume the idea for the asylum was a clever way to cut down on development time a little, whilst adding more content into the game. There are also theories and hints that Carcer City, the setting for Manhunt, also exists within the same universe as Bully and some of the GTA games. One of the most jarring things about this entire place though is that there is a morgue in the back. And in the room connected to the morgue, an incinerator. Yeah, this is pretty dark. Much darker than I'd ever have expected from a game where you play as a 15-year-old set predominantly in a high school. If anyone knows anything more about this location, please let me know in the comments because I am absolutely fascinated with it. This is a slightly shorter video, but I hope you still enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe, it helps me out so much, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!